The story follows three brothers called Tenka, Soromaru, and Chutaro. The three Kumo brothers live at a special shrine and they are very skilled samurai. When the regional police cannot handle dangerous criminals, the three brothers go after them. Chutaro and Soromaru get assigned a mission where they have to transport an elderly man to a maximum security prison called Gokumanjo. When criminals need to be transported to the prison where they will remain forever, the brothers take them there. Later at the Kumo shrine, the Kumo family housekeeper, called Shirasu Kinjo, goes to visit Tenka. Tenka has noticed for a while that his brother Chutaro has been acting strange lately. So Soromaru and Tenka decide to go undercover at Chutaro's school to find out more in regards to what is going on with him. Afterwards, Soromaru and Tenka are introduced to Botan, who is Chutaro's teacher in school. Botan is actually a Shikigami summoned by the Abeno clan 600 years ago with the mission of sealing Orochi. Orochi is a giant spirit demon snake which descends upon Earth every 300 years and needs to inhibit a human vessel in order to revive. But in the Meiji era, Botan is now a schoolteacher who seeks to assist the Kumo brothers. Tenka closely watches Botan and starts to notice that her grading system is suspicious. Later in the day, two policemen called Kitamura and Tsuchiya want to talk to Tenka about a new case. They have worked with the brothers many times before. Tenka meets them and they tell him that there is a samurai bandit who stole Kitamura's sword. Tenka accepts the mission and tells Chutaro and Soromaru to stay at home while he goes to catch the criminal. Chutaro and Soromaru take a walk in the woods and they find the samurai bandit on their own. They chase him down and begin to challenge him. The samurai bandit puts up a good fight as he is also very skilled, managing to dodge several attacks and even jump straight back up when he is knocked to the ground. Eventually, Tenka arrives at the scene of the battle just in time to save Soromaru from certain death. The samurai bandit almost suffocated Soromaru to death, but Tenka manages to get him off his brother just in time and saves him. Tenka picks up Soromaru and carries him back to the shrine. As he is carrying Soromaru, he cries as he got scared in battle and also failed. Elsewhere, we see that the old man has now arrived in his cell where he meets his new cellie, a mysterious man with a fox mask. In the fight with the samurai bandit, Soromaru was badly wounded and he needed to see a doctor urgently. The Kumo brothers visit a doctor, called Oda, to treat his injuries. Tenka would also like to get some medicine that can cure his hangover. When they get to the doctor, they also learn some valuable information. Dr. Oda tells Tenka that Shirasu is working together with the Fuma clan, an extremely dangerous and barbaric clan of ninjas that have no mercy. Tsuchiya and Kitamura also inform Tenka that there is a psychotic man, called Kagami, who is traveling to the Kumo shrine. But what Tenka doesn't know is that Kagami has already reached the Kumo shrine and he is already talking with Chutaro. Soromaru shows up at the shrine and pretends to be his brother Tenka as a way of scaring Kagami. However, it doesn't work and Kagami challenges him to a duel. Soromaru orders Chutaro to go inside the shrine and get to safety. Meanwhile, while Tenka tries to make his way home, he is attacked by the youngest member of the Yamenu squad, called Rakucho Takeda, and his squad of fighters. They think because they have more men that Tenka will be an easy fight, but they're gravely mistaken. Tenka manages to defeat them all with ease, even defeating Rakucho. Kagami then attacks Soromaru, who can barely defend himself as Kagami is just too experienced and fierce. Suddenly, Shirasu also arrives at the scene and tries to attack Kagami, but in the process he gets badly injured. Tenka finally arrives, just when Shirasu cannot fight anymore and is almost killed. Tenka then faces off against Kagami. It is then revealed that Kagami wants to overthrow the current shogunate because they have betrayed the people. The shogunate was the hereditary military dictatorship of Japan. Kagami believes that the shogunate broke the trust of everyone when they approved the Sword Abolishment Act, as he can't stand the fact that now warriors aren't allowed to carry their swords like in the Golden Age. Tenka attacks Kagami and beats him up, but just before he can finish him off, the commander of the Yamenu squad arrives, called Abeno Sase. He restrains Tenka and breaks up the fight with Kagami. It is revealed that Sase has made it his goal to find and kill Orochi's vessel, the monstrous serpent that cursed Japan since ancient times. It brought havoc and had to be sealed away with magic. Sase doesn't know that Tenka also wants to find Orochi's vessel. But unlike Sase, who wants to kill it, Tenka wants to save it, as Orochi needs to inhibit a human vessel to revive. Every few hundred years it reincarnates in the body of a human and possesses them. Tenka forms a new friendship and alliance with Botan, and they both agree to work together to find the Orochi's vessel by any means necessary. While the two make their plan, Tenka notices that Soromaru has been eavesdropping on their conversation. Tenka doesn't want to call out Soromaru for his eavesdropping and pretends he didn't even notice. Motivated by his recent failures in combat, Soromaru decides it is time to become stronger. He begins training harder than ever with the goal of being as strong as his brother Tenka. While training, he gets a visit from Shirasu. Meanwhile, Tenka meets meets up with Kyoko Sasaki, who is another member of the Yamenu squad. Afterwards, Tenka also has a conversation with the Minister of the Right, called Tomomi Iwakura. Soromaru decides that he must have a teacher so he can learn more skills with the sword. He goes to Sase and very politely asks to be his student. Soromaru wants Sase to show him his way of the sword, but to Soromaru's surprise, Sase rejects his offer. Takeda, along with Shichenrang, who is also another member of the Yamenu squad, decide that they will help Soromaru in his search of Orochi's vessel. They need to gain access to the Gokumanjo prison, as maybe some of the inmates there know something. Chutaro and Soromaru come up with a plan to infiltrate Gokumanjo prison. Soromaru disguises himself and stakes out the prison for more information. When Tenka returns home, he gets worried that Soromaru has gone missing. We then see Shirasu go into the woods where he meets with Botan. Shirasu doesn't particularly like Botan and asks her why she is so passionate about working with Tenka to find Orochi's vessel. In response, Botan becomes furious and calls out Shirasu, questioning his loyalty to the Kumo brothers and his true intentions. Soromaru has now arrived at the Gokumanjo prison and is trying to remain unnoticed. He runs into some familiar faces, some of them he personally brought to the prison. Tenka goes to the shrine and finds out from Chutaro what his brothers have been up to. Tenka tells Shirasu to go and save Soromaru from the prison before he bites off more than he can chew. Meanwhile, Soromaru gets in trouble when the man with the fox mask brings him to his cell. Soromaru is terrified, but he also remembers painful memories from his childhood that are somehow connected to this masked man. Soromaru goes into a rage and attacks the man in the fox mask. Soromaru believes that this same man killed his parents when he was just a child. He tries to attack the man with the mask but passes out from exhaustion. In the past, we discover that Soromaru was attacked by a man wearing a fox mask. This attack happened at the shrine and Tenka was the one who saved Soromaru from certain defeat. While Tenka was fighting the masked man, he got a serious injury to his spine. Back in the present, Soromaru wakes up in a totally different cell. He sees a strange-looking prison guard with pink hair. He goes to the guard and explains everything about the man with the fox mask. At that moment, Takeda and Shirasu arrive at Gokumanjo prison in search for Soromaru to get him out of there. Several prisoners then start escaping their cells and Takeda has to fight them off. Shirasu finally finds Soromaru and gives him some normal clothes. Soromaru then once again faces the man with the fox mask and tells him to remember his name and face, because one day he will come after him. Before leaving, Soromasu gives the prison guard with pink hair equipment for medical emergencies. Eventually, Shirasu, Takeda and Soromasu make their way out of the prison and back to the shrine. Soromaru is returned home to his brothers. Angry and disappointed, Tenka asks Soromaru why he didn't come to him with his plan. Tenka was distraught as he almost lost his brother in prison, and he feels it's his duty to always be there for his brothers to protect them. Later in the day, Botan and Shirasu face off once more. This time Shirasu directly tells Botan to stay away from Tenka. He tells her that she needs to reveal everything she knows about the Orochi's vessel immediately. Shirasu explains that once he was a part of the Fuma clan, but one day they were all slaughtered. He was just a child and without a home, so he wandered around the lands with no help. But eventually Shirasu was found by Tenka and the brothers changed his life. The following morning, Chutaro and Tenka welcome their brother back and they all celebrate. The following day, Shirasu is met by the prison guard with the pink wig. She takes off the pink wig and reveals that her name is Nishiki, the last member of the Fuma clan. Nishiki gets acquainted with Shirasu some more and eventually, she offers to lead him to the man that ended his entire clan in the past. However, Shirasu refuses her invitation. Soromaru visits Sase once more, but this time with information about the man with the fox mask. He reveals that the mysterious man collects a special plant called poppies which can be used to create a special substance called opium. The following day, Sase finally agrees to teach Soromaru his way of the sword. On the other hand, Kyoko brags about how in the past Tenka was actually a high-ranking commander of the Yamenu squad while he was just a child. While talking to Sase, Soromaru learns that the main goal of the Yamenu squad is to locate and destroy Orochi's vessel by any means necessary. Night arrives and a heavy rainstorm is brewing. Chutaro and Soromaru go to fetch some vegetables from the nearby town. Meanwhile, Botan, Shirasu and Dr. Oda discover a horrible truth about Tenka. Soromaru makes his way back to the shrine but runs into Nishiki. He then realizes that she was the prison guard with the pink hair. In a shocking twist of events, it is revealed that Tenka is indeed the Orochi's vessel, and in turn he is surrounded and arrested by the police. Soromaru and Chutaro cannot believe that this is really happening. The news spreads all around the land and eventually reaches the base of operations for the Yamenu squad. Soromaru soon learns that his brother Tenka is scheduled to be executed in public at the Orochi's shrine. Soromaru is angry at his brother for keeping secrets and lying to them the whole time, Botan then reveals that the first head of the Kumo family, called Kagemitsu Kumo, was the one who helped Harari and Botan to seal away the Orochi 600 years ago. Orochi was sealed at the same location where the Gokumanjo prison now lies. It is also revealed that the Orochi has picked Tenka to be its human host. It is strange that Orochi chose Tenka as he has been shown to be kind and loving, especially towards his two brothers. The day of the execution arrives and Tenka is led into the noose to be hanged. Kitamura and Tsuchiya try to prevent his execution, but Tenka knocks both of them unconscious for his own reasons. Sase then shows up and wants to talk to Tenka about him leaving the Yamenu squad so long ago. Tenka doesn't give a clear answer and just makes a comment about dreams and disappointments. Shutaro and Soromaru finally reach the execution site and try to move past the policeman in order to reach their brother. They finally reach him and they all hug. Tenka holds his brothers for a final time before he is executed. A giant crowd appears and they all protest the execution. Shutaro and Soromaru start to get emotional and cry. Botan and Shirasu are heartbroken as well. And finally Tenka is executed just as the sun sets. In the faraway past, or 600 years to be exact, Botan was saved by Harari when dangerous ninjas were after her. At that time, Kiyotsuna Sasaki was the guardian of the Omi Shrine and he was grateful for Harari and his heroic actions. But Sasaki did not want Harari to go near Botan ever again. Kagemitsu and Sasaki both perceived Harari as a pure being. Their mission was to kill the evil Orochi. After some time, ninjas arrive at the shrine and it is revealed that a diviner called Ashia created the ninjas using dark magic. Botan then proceeds to use her Onmyo magic to destroy all the ninja attackers, and she is then revealed as the familiar who was created with the sole purpose to seal away the Orochi. During the battle, Botan ties Harari to a nearby tree but releases him shortly after, as this was only for his safety while there were enemies around them. Ashia gets scared during the battle and retreats running away. After she unties him, Harari hugs Botan and tells her that he has feelings for her. At that moment, Kagemitsu has a feeling that Harari is actually the Orochi's vessel. After a while, Harari deduces that Sasaki is actually the true vessel for Orochi. At that point, the human host transforms into an evil serpent. Harari, Botan and Kagemitsu all work together, and with some great display of action they finally manage to defeat the Orochi. In the battle, Harari sacrificed his left arm while trying to protect Botan from Orochi. Harari then manages to stab the Orochi and Botan completes her seal ritual that finally seals away the ancient Orochi demon lord. Botan has now finished her mission and she transforms into flower petals and disappears, leaving Harari behind. Back in the present, a week has passed since Tenka was executed. It is raining almost every day and Soromaru is constantly angry. Iwakura is furious that Orochi's vessel was killed instead of being captured. Sase and his Yamenu squad are ordered to carefully watch over Chutaro and Soromaru just in case something happens. Sase continues training Soromaru, and during one of their sessions he tries to motivate Soromaru, telling him to hold his head high and always strive to become stronger. When Soromaru returns home, he tells Chutaro and Shirasu that Tenka took responsibility for their parents' death. Later in the day, Soromaru finds Nishiki injured in the woods, so he takes her to the shrine to recover. When Nishiki wakes up, Shirasu doesn't want to talk to her or restore the Fuma clan. Tsuchiya and Kitamura arrive at the shrine and they inform Soromaru that one of the transports was lost in the woods. Nishiki offers to help in the case and explains that she looks like this because she failed her coming-of-age ceremony. Soromaru tells her that everyone has done something they regret. He then goes into the woods where he meets with the people that took the transport. He manages to defeat them, returning the transport to their rightful owner. In battle, he is joined by an injured Nishiki. After everything has been settled, Soromaru carries Nishiki back to the shrine and tells her that she can stay with them for a while. The next day, Soromaru goes to train with Sase once more. Sase tells him that he will be the head of the Kumo family in the future. Shutaro goes for a walk in the woods where he meets Kagami, who has managed to somehow escape from Gokumanjo. Shutaro is scared and gets even more shaken up when Kagami begins to explain that Tenka was a necessary sacrifice. Meanwhile, at the base of operations of the Yamenu squad, Kyoko and Takamine are informed by Sase that Tenka was not actually the true Orochi's vessel, which is a shocking revelation for everyone. Kitamura and Tsuchiya then go to Soromaru and Shirasu and tell them that Chutaro has been seen with Kagami in the woods. Sase then requests Ashia to summon various familiars and break into Gokumanjo. Takamine speaks to Harari and learns that Tenka was just a possible vessel for Orochi. But before he can learn more, Takamine is attacked by the true vessel for Orochi. It is not revealed who the vessel is. The following day, Soromaru is shocked when he wakes up strangling Nishiki. Sase then reveals to Soromaru that Tenka was the one who accepted that his life needed to end quickly. In the meantime, Sase also learns that Takamine was taken to the hospital because he was attacked and injured. Botan and Ashia appear at the Kumo shrine where they search for the Kumo twin swords, which are special artifacts that were swallowed by the Orochi when it was sealed. Soromaru has a shocking realization that he is the real vessel for Orochi and that his brother sacrificed his life for him. Soromaru also remembers that he attacked Takamine in the woods. Shirasu and Botan go to meet Chutaro. Botan realizes that while they had the twin swords they could not kill Orochi, but they could still free the vessel. We then witness a shocking betrayal happen when Shirasu stabs Botan in the back. It is revealed that Shirasu actually wants the Orochi to be reborn once more. He explains that members of the Fuma clan were actually the retainers for the Orochi for hundreds of years. Shirasu goes on the offensive planning to kill Botan, but at the last moment Harari shows up and saves her, taking her somewhere safe. Soromaru goes to Sase and tells him that he is the true Orochi's vessel. Soromaru then begs Sase to kill him before he does something evil. Sase tells Soromaru that he needs to remember his brother and his death. Tsuchiya and Kitamura inform Botan and Harari that a prison break has occurred at Gokyumanjo. Sase, Kiko and another member of Yamenu called Inukai arrive at the prison, trying to fight off several Fuma clansmen. It is revealed that the man wearing the fox mask is Kataru Fuma, who actually broke into the base of Yamenu's squad. Kotaro and Shirasu come to meet Soromaru and bow down. The Fuma clan members start to retreat as Sase is too powerful. Sase informs his allies that the Fuma clan wants to bring back the Orochi. Shirasu steals the twin swords and explains that Kotaro was actually the one who killed the parents of the Kumo brothers. Kagami and Chutaro are witnesses when 3 bandits tried to rob Kanabayashi and her friends. The bandits are defeated when a figure in a hood appears suddenly. Harari recognizes that this mysterious warrior is actually Tenka, who is still somehow alive. Tenka is then captured and he is brought to see Botan, Dr. Oda and Harari. It is then revealed to everyone that Tenka was actually just a test subject for a magical drug that was created from the Orochi cells. Botan informs Tenka that Soromaru is actually the real vessel for Orochi. At that moment Tenka gets out of his restraints and goes to save his brother. In the meantime, Sase tells Kiko that Iwakura was modified by a Orochi serum that gifts healing powers. In the forest the Yamenu squad faces the warden of the prison, called Orita, and his armed prisoners. Botan arrives and informs the Yamenu squad that the Orochi's vessel has to be exposed to sunlight. They all realize that they can use the nearby lake that has an underground canal. Nishiki finds Soromaru and realizes that he has become something else, so she takes the twin swords and runs away. Kagami attacks Kitamura and Tsuchiya. On the other hand, Chutaro is in tears and manages to escape running into Nishiki, who has the swords. Chutaro goes to the canal and Soromaru follows him. In the meantime, Botan and Nishiki fight Shirasu. The Yamenu squad goes against Kotaro and his Fuma clansmen, and while Soromaru and Chutaro begin their fight, Tenka suddenly breaks into the canal and arrives at the battlefield. Takeda, Harari and Sase also go towards the canal and the Yamenu squad fights Kotaro. Tenka and Chutaro manage to take Soromaru away from the canal. Chutaro then uses the twin swords and manages to actually take the Orochi out of Soromaru. The skies turn black and Soromaru returns to normal. He takes Sase's katana and goes to destroy the Orochi. Sase talks to Tenka about him hiding the fact that he was used for an experimental Orochi serum. Then Chutaro manages to save Kagami when a tree almost falls on him. Orochi is revived and starts to destroy everything in its path. Botan protects Nishiki and Harari arrives to help keep Botan safe. Tenka and Sase attack Shirasu, however Kotaro manages to grab a hold of Sase and Tenka. Kotaro tries to throw them and himself into one of the deadly Orochi beams, and while Kotaro dies, Tenka and Sase survive but are gravely injured. Chutaro, Soromaru and Takeda use their swords and they finally manage to defeat the Orochi. The sun comes out once again and the battle is finally over. Shirasu sees the brothers all together and feels an insane amount of guilt as he remembers all the moments he had with them and how he betrayed them. He decides to jump off a cliff to his end as a punishment. Later, a giant party is organized by the Kumo brothers for the entire town, and this brings the anime to an end.